Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where it's always a good day when you get to solve a Marty Sears Sudoku, and that is what I'm going to attempt to do today. It's called Blue or Yellow, and it's got some sort of snake connotation in it. So we're going to have to build, I think it's only one snake that goes through some of the circles. Oh goodness, the wind is howling through my attic. That's a very peculiar thing. What's that play I saw at the theatre that absolutely scared the bejiminies out of me? The Woman in Black. Yes, that's yeah. Who's that by? Susan somebody. That is a, if you ever want to be properly scared, out of your wits. That was genuinely frightening. I saw it as an adult, and it was truly terrifying. And anyway, the sort of the way the wind blew through the room there was most eerie. Anyway, I think we're all right. I think there are no ghosts, at least not at the moment. So let's get back to it. This is a puzzle. It's by Marty. It's got 2 stars out of 5 for difficulty. And I snipped some of the comments I found on Logic Masters Germany. The first comment there. Yep, gorgeous. Absolutely wonderful, says Snakes, which is appropriate. What a great break-in, says Elad V. And anyway, you can just see, if you read down, just basically everyone says it's beautiful, full of aha moments. Everything we've come to expect from the great man, who I actually bumped into last weekend at Dash, which is this puzzle hunt that happened in London for the first time since the pandemic. So it was a delight to see him, and I might get to see him again actually, because I think he might be coming to our live show that we're doing in Stratford upon Avon. So hopefully that is the case. Anyway, that's all by the by. What else can I tell you about today? The big news, I suppose, that we've got going on around the channel is we've released 2 new Sudoku worms. So, in fact, Marty's was one of the original Sudoku worms. So what are Sudoku worms? Sudoku worms are packs of puzzles by particular authors who've proved very popular with the community. So we've had a pack of puzzles by Marty. We've had a pack of puzzles by James Sinclair. We've just released a pack of puzzles by Michael Lefkowitz and by Phistomefel. So do check them out. Incredibly good value. Lots of puzzles, lots of innovation, and yeah, you'll really enjoy them. I mean, literally, they'll be the best apps on your devices. So that's something we've got going on. The competition for the month has now closed. So well done to all those of you who attempted the puzzles in Blobs' Back to the Future Sudoku hunt. I mean, it was thousands of you who finished at least one puzzle. Oh goodness! I don't know whether that's the police or the ambulance chasing the ghost. But nearly 1,000 people solved the whole thing. It's incredible, absolutely incredible, and the solution videos will be up on Patreon very soon. As on Wednesday, there'll be a new video series over on Patreon as well, My Solve of Spider by Sabre, a recent listener crossword, which is, what a puzzle. But anyway, I better not say too much about that, although the closing date, I think, has passed, so I think I can say it was amazing. Now, what else? Let me look at my list. Birthdays. Now, okay, we're going to go to Malaysia first, where Damia, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Damia, your girlfriend Ange wrote to us and told us that you watch the channel every night and you try to solve alongside the videos. Oh, thank you so much for doing that. It is a delight to hear how some people really get drawn into this variant Sudoku world and get obsessed with it. And Damia, I hope you have an absolutely brilliant birthday today. I hope there's some chocolate cake involved, and that if there is, it is properly iced, 1-to-1 ratio between, of course, the icing and the cake. The cake is there really as a waste of calories, let's be honest, but there can be a little bit just to help support the icing, which is the main part. Now, the other birthday is Greta. Greta, it's your birthday. Greta, you share your name with one of my favourite bands of the moment, Greta Van Fleet. But Greta, you've turned 24 today. And I know this because your boyfriend, Sam, wrote to us and told us that cracking the cryptic puzzles has been a shared hobby for the two of you, really since you got together in the first place. So I think you, even when you were apart, you used to solve them together over the phone. I love the idea of that, but now you've moved in together, and so you're obviously in the same location, and you solve the puzzles side by side on the couch every day. Quite right too. Greta, I hope you have an absolutely great day today, and I hope the chocolate cake is properly festively iced. Now, that's all the news. Let's have a look at Blue or Yellow by Marty Sears, and I will read you the rules to the puzzle. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Then we've got to draw a snake connecting the 2 green spots, so we've got to connect those up. The snake must be 1 cell wide, may only move orthogonally, and may not touch itself, not even diagonally. So let's just deal with what that means. The snake is 1 cell wide and may only move orthogonally. Now, an orthogonal movement means a movement north, south, east, or west. So it's to a cell that shares an edge with this. So from here, you could go that way, or that way. They would be the possible ways. You could not go that. Oh, whoopsie! You couldn't go that way. That is not an orthogonal movement. That's a diagonal movement, and that is too naughty for words. So we mustn't do that. Oh, and the snake mustn't touch itself. Now I'm not going to be able to. I'll try and do some version of this. That. So let's say, ignoring the fact the snake's meant to end there, this would not be a possible movement of the snake. Because although the snake has moved orthogonally in this example, you can see these 2 cells, the snake touches itself at a point there, and that is also not allowed. The snake is not allowed to touch itself at all, otherwise it would be a naughty snake, and we don't want any of those. Now, next, adjacent digits along the snake must have a difference of at least 5. Let's just draw a very simple snake. There we go. Snake. So if this cell's a 1, this cell has to be at least 6, because it has to be at least 5 different from the digit 1. So that could be 6, 7, 8, or 9, and then this one would have to be 2, 3, or 4. It could be 1, but obviously 1 would not be allowed by Sudoku. So if you're familiar with the German whispers constraint, that is, I think, what the snake we draw has to obey. It has to obey German whispers rules. Oh, now hang on, now there's some circles rules, so let's get rid of that. Right, so it now says a digit in a coloured circle indicates how many times that digit appears in a circle of that colour. So if that cell's a 3, that means 3 yellow circles contain the digit 3. So something like that would be possible. And the same is going to be true. So if that cell's a 3, then I won't put 3 in the corner because it'll go crazy. But something like that would be possible. So you have to put, if this was a 4, you'd have to put 4 4s into blue circles. And then the kicker, the final paragraph of the rules, says that all circles of one colour are on the snake, and all circles of the other colour are not on the snake. So that's going to be seriously constraining. But anyway, that's it. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Right, what colour should we make the snake? Let's make it purple, I think. Oh, is that good? Maybe. It's a bit of the I should really make it green, shouldn't I? But dark green or light green? Yeah, no, let's make it light green. That's a much more sensible way of approaching the snake, because it is going to be a German whispers line. Now, where does the snake go? So if the snake does go into blue, it would have to immediately turn, wouldn't it? Like that. Because the snake can't touch itself, it would actually have to go in that direction. Let's just see. If we were to if we were to say all of those were out of bounds and the snake couldn't go there and it had to go through yellow, then is that possible? I'm trying to see or to perceive, because the snake would have to go through there. I'm wondering whether the snake, you could actually draw the snake without it touching it. Actually, you can just draw a massive snake, can't you? You could do something like this, like that. That would be a snake. I don't think I've broken the rules there. Okay, let's see the other way round. So if we were to block these ones off, does that make it difficult to draw the snake? That would have to be... Oh, hang on, what's going on now? For some reason I was trying to join it to that, which is not the idea. No, I think that's very drawable as well, actually. I mean, just for example, we could do something like that. It would be quite constrained. It feels more constrained that way round. I mean, I imagine what we actually have to do here is to think about a little trick. Let me just think about the little trick I have in mind. So the trick, okay, let me explain. No, actually, let me just try and work out if I think the trick is relevant. I'm pretty sure it will be. Oh, actually, no, maybe it's not. No, no, it's definitely relevant. It's definitely relevant. Yeah, it's definitely relevant. Right. The trick. Right, we're going to have to talk about some tricks to do with German whispers lines. Let's just draw a quick line in. Oops. So let's imagine this is the snake. Now, there are several things that we could say about this snake. It would be a slightly right-angled snake. That would be one of the things we could say about it, but that's not the thing we need to focus on. The first thing we can say is because the digits on this need to be 5 apart, we can never put 5 on this snake. That is going to be impossible. Let's imagine this was a 5. What would this digit be? If it's 5, if we're going to digits that are 5 less than this digit, we're getting to 0 and negative numbers. Well, they're not Sudoku numbers, so they don't work. And if we go upwards, we get to 10 and higher, and they aren't Sudoku numbers, so that doesn't work. So, first thing, no 5s on any snake. Second thing, that means that every digit you write onto a snake either has the quality of being below 5 or above 5. And the crucial thing to realise is that if, let's say for example, this is above 5, can this also be above 5? No, because if this is also above 5, the difference between these two digits is at most 3. We could make them 9 and 6, and 3 is not 5. It's not enough to be 5, knowledge bomb, so that doesn't work. So what you have to do is oscillate. Now, that is not the end of the tricks. We are also told in this puzzle that our snake, Snaky McSnakeface, has to move orthogonally. Now, why does that interest me? Well, I think what that's going to mean is there's going to be a bishop's colour principle operating vis-a-vis the circle. So if we take the blue circles as an example, because these circles, hang on, let me just work this out now. That circle, I think, is also on that colour. That the same bishop's colour is what I'm trying to do. So imagine these were chess bishops, these cells. Those cells there. They're obviously all on the same bishop's colour. I think these are not. No. So these ones are on a different bishop's colour. Now why, you might say, why does this matter? Well, because the snake oscillates polarity. So as it goes from cell to cell, if this was low, this would be high. If this was low, this would be high. Can you see what happens? You always get the same type of digit, high or low, on the same bishop's colour. So imagine these cells were all on the snake. and this one was low, so 1, 2, 3 or 4, this one could not be high, because it's always going to take an even number of steps to move the snake from this cell to this cell. And it doesn't matter how we do it, that will always be true. If we did it like that, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we return to the same bishop's colour, so this should be the same polarity. Now, why does that interest me? Well, I think we can actually just say that these blue cells cannot be on the snake. Because these are not on the same bishop's colour, one of these, either purple or red, has to be high polarity, which means that one of them has to have at least 6 on its type of circle. Now you could put, well, you can't actually, because you could have put a 5 on there if we could have ever put a 5 on a whisper, because there are 5 on that bishop's colour, but there aren't 6. So if purple is high polarity, you couldn't put 6 into any of those, because imagine you did, well, that implies there are meant to be 6 6s in blue, but none of these can be 6 because they're on the other polarity, so they're definitely low. So it just doesn't work. And of course, if this is high polarity, there are only 3 of those, so you can never get anywhere near 6. So I think it's simply impossible for blue to be on the snake. So I think I'm going to allege that that's logical, and I'm going to well, let's bluify them. So blue means not on the snake. Green means on the snake, and now we've just worked out that yellow is, well, let's check we haven't made an error, because I'm now alleging it by force of sort of by the fact that either blue or yellow were on the snake, that yellow must be on the snake. But let's work out where the bishop, so those are on the same bishop. See, that one is not on the same bishop's colour, this one here, as these two. That one is, that one is, that one is, those two are. Right, so those purple ones are all on the same yellow bishop's colour, and that one isn't. Okay, so that's perfect actually, that works, doesn't it? Because let's apply the principles we learnt before. One of these colours, purple or orange, corresponds to high polarity. Now obviously if this digit is a 6, 7, 8 or 9, that would imply we have to put 6, let's say 6 6s in yellow. Well, if that's true, that's impossible, because these are different polarities, so these are going to be the low digits, so that simply doesn't work. However, if this was a 1, there is only 1 digit in yellow on this polarity, so that would work beautifully. And that would imply purple is high polarity, and there are 7 purple digits. So in fact, those are, I think, all the digits 7. Because you might say, oh, how do you know they're 7 and they're not 6? Well, they're not 6, because if they were 6, there would be one of them left over. And I'd have to put a different digit other than 6 into that, but it would have to be high because it's on that polarity. And the moment I put, say, a 7 into that cell, that would imply there were meant to be 13 yellow circles in that polarity, and there definitely aren't. There are only 7. So these are all 7. That is 1, and I think we are off to the races. It's a lovely idea, actually, isn't it? It's lovely. Now, all of these, therefore, are definitely green. Can we really see those? They're not the most brilliantly. They don't. Maybe I'll do. Oh, I don't know how to do this so that it's really clear. I want them to be a bit darker than that. But I know if I made them orange, everyone will moan at me and say, well, that's not a Whisper's colour. But I think that's probably the fairest colour for the colourblind folk, because our blue and orange apparently are the most distinct. So do you mind if I do that? And I'm just going to remember that orange is green for the purposes of Whispers. Now, this is very interesting as well. No jokes. No, it is very interesting because 7 is quite a restricted digit on a German whispers line. Because what can you put 7 adjacent to? You're going to have to put it next to a digit that's at least 5 different from 7. Now, there are only 2 of those, and they are the digits 1 and 2. So all of these 7s are going to have 1s and 2s next to them. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that's definitely true. I was wondering if I could do Sudoku. I mean, what a frivolous idea. No, I mean, there is a 7 in one of those. If I was to put 7 here, within their circles, even if they're off the snake, they have to obey. Yeah, I can't put 7 into a blue circle, because that would imply I've got to put 7 7s in blue, as well as 7 7s in orange. That would imply there are 14 7s in the Sudoku puzzle. Well, I've done enough Sudokus to know there are only 9 of any one digit in Sudoku, so that's definitely not right. So I can do some 7s. So that's 7, that's 7. All the 7s are in the grid. And now, is there a negative? Like, do I now know that these 7s are not on the path or not? Only move orthogonally. A digit in a coloured circle. All circles are on the snake. No, no, it doesn't necessarily mean this isn't on the snake, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful there. But I do know that all the blue cells are definitely not on the snake, so the snake is going to have to go through that little passageway at the top of the grid and be surrounded by a 1 and a 2. Yeah, how does the snake get away from this cell without touching itself? It's going to have to go through this cell, isn't it? If it didn't go, if this was a blue cell, this is a corner of the snake, and the snake's going to touch itself here, so that doesn't work. So the snake goes through this little channel. That's got to be a 2 actually now. Oh, that's good. So we could do the 1 and the 2 at the top, because it couldn't be a 1, and yet it was next to a 7. So this is a high digit, which is going to be an 8 or a 9. It can't be a 6, because that would have double 1 on each side. Please don't worry if you're like, how does he know that? Like, I've done so many of these puzzles with this sort of whispers constraint. That's the only reason I'm in any way able to see that relatively quickly. Now look, there's a snake that's gone into this sort of blue cul-de-sac area, but it's got to get out again, so it's going to have to come through there, I think. So this is 1 or 2, this is 8 or 9, can't be 6 again because it would have double 1 on both sides. This digit is 1 or 3, can't be 2. Now, what else can we say here? I'm not sure. Well, actually we can work out these digits in terms of polarity, can't we? That's high polarity. Because just if we just work out the bishop's colour, we know that this one is on low polarity, and that's not on the same colour, so that's got to be 6, 8 or 9. This one is also high polarity, so that's 6, 8 or 9 as well. Okay, that's great. Now, where do we go from here? As Radiohead might have asked, I don't know is the answer. I do know. That's beautiful. That's classic Marty. Look at this one. Now this one, we know, we just said it's got to have 1 and 2 next to it on some side or another. But it can't have 1s and 2s in column 5. 1 and 2 have already gone. So those cells are definitely not on the path, which means these 2 are definitely on the path, and these are a 1-2 pair. That's really lovely. Yeah, and this little cell is totally trapped in. It's corralled by the blue circles. So it's just, we've just got to run and end the snake. Now so the snake, if this is the end of the snake, you can see that the end goes like that. So every cell that is orthogonal or diagonal to this is now not available. All of these have to be blue. They have to be, and that one actually. Otherwise the snake would touch itself. So the snake has to, it's going to go out of that little hole there. And that's going to be blue for the same reason. Otherwise the snake would touch itself there. This digit is going to be 8 or 9 in order to be sufficiently different from 1 and 2, and it can't be 6 again because these would have to both be 1. So this digit is a 3 or a 4, and it's not a 4. If this was a 4, these would both have to be 9. 4 is sort of monogamous along German whispers lines. It only partners up with the digit 9. So that is a 3, which means this isn't a 6 anymore. So there's an 8-9 pair. Oh, and these digits are just 4, 5 and 6 in some order. We've sort of got an entropic 4, 5, 6 in box 5. Okay. Now, this digit is high. I was going to say it can't be... Actually, it can't actually be... Oh, no, I might be wrong, actually. I'm not certain that isn't 6. If this was a 1 and this... If the snake did that... That might be okay. Sorry, yeah, so I don't think I know for sure that that isn't a 6. I do know that this cell is not on the path. Because if the snake did turn north, it would have touched itself here. And that's, again, that's jolly naughty and it mustn't do it. Okay. Oh no, I've got another deduction. This cell can't be on the path. Because if it was, what would it be? It's next to a 7. It would be a 1 or a 2. So that doesn't work. So this has got to turn upwards, which means it's not a 2. So that is a 1. That means this is a 1. This is a 2. One of those is a 2. I wonder if we can... We probably can put 2 into a blue circle. I've not thought about the blue circles beyond when we just worked out they couldn't be on the snake. This can't be on the snake now, or the snake would be touching itself. There's got to be a 1 or a 2 in one of those positions. Oh yeah, it's the same. Well, it's not the same, but it's a similar point with this 7. It can't ever move to the north now because this cell can't be a 1 or a 2. And that means this has to come out through there. So this digit is a 1 or a 2. So the snake is doing this. Right. The snake isn't going to go north once because if the snake went north, it would bump into this cell, at least diagonally, which would end the snake before it visited all of this part of the world. So the snake is definitely going downwards. So the broad pattern of the snake is it's going to go round here, some way it's going to go down here, then it's going over here, up here, there, and then it's going to break for home across there. So this cell's definitely not on the snake. The snake can't go in here because it couldn't get out again without touching itself. So these cells are not on the snake. And slowly but surely... Oh yeah, how could that be on the snake? That would need to be a 1 or a 2. And there's a 1-2 pair in row 5. So that's not on the snake. This is on the snake. This is therefore a 1 or a 2. This cell... Oh no, that can be. I was about to say it can't be, but it can. Oh, bobbins. This is going to have to see a 2, isn't it? In one of these 2 cells. Yes, that's the point. That is the point. How can this 7 go here? It could if this was a 2. That would be fine. And then we bump into this. But the next movement of the snake would be to here, and that couldn't be a 2 and would need to be a 1, and it can't be. So in fact, this snake has to break that. Oh, whoopsie. So this snake definitely goes there. Now this isn't available for the snakes. The snake definitely goes there. This is now 1-2 pair either side of the 7, but we know the order this time. Oh, go on. Yeah, this is good. We can probably do all sorts of Sudoku here, but forgive me if I just totally ignore that possibility and try and do it using obscure logic some other way. I'm tempted to think about the blue circles actually, because I bet they tell us something. No. I was wondering about. One is in one of those cells. Oh, so how could this be on the snake? If this was on the snake, the next digit would be a 1, and it can't be. So that's off the snake, which means the snake comes through here. So this digit is now 8 or 9, because it's next to a 2, so it can't be a 6. Now, it could go in the corner, couldn't it? If that's a 3, perhaps. Or it turns here into a 3. So its next move is to a 3 in one of those two positions. Neither of these can be a 4, because there would be a 9 on both sides, and those 9s would both be in this box, so that's impossible. So because it moves into a 3 in one of these positions, this cell has to be a 1. Yeah, now can we? No, maybe we can't. I was wondering whether I could do Sudoku on 1s or 2s, perhaps. Nearly. Yes, in fact that's the key, isn't it? How does this point and the snake move forwards? It can't go to the west. This would be a 1 or a 2, and it can't be. So it must go upwards, and then it must turn. So this digit is a 2. This can't be a 1 now, because 1 and 2 are not 5 apart. So that's a 1. That's a 1. This digit is 8 or 9. I mean, I just love this sort of thing. I'm not going to claim, you know, it's as hard as that puzzle I did the other day, the diagonality one. But it's just very, very enjoyable. And it looks like we're creating some sort of golden ratio spiral, doesn't it? Now, where do we look now? Snake can't get there without being cul-de-saced. Snake can't go there without being cul-de-saced. Could that be on the snake? Maybe. Oh, we said one of these was a 3, so I should label that. Oh, why has it done that? That's an entertaining thing to happen. I don't even know if that will come out. There was like a circle that zoomed in. Right, so if I don't know what to do. that's the long and short of it. Okay, let's have a quick think about blue circles. How many of those have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 8 blue circles, and the rule for blue circles is, yes, so the digits we put into blue circles have to sum to 8. So they're either, well, they're not 8. We can't write 8 into all of them, because these two can't both be 8. So it's not one digit we're putting in the blue circles, it's some extra number that's not. Now, if it's 3 numbers we're putting in, 3 different numbers we're putting into blue circles, then one of those numbers would be a 1. And I think I've put all the 1s in the puzzle, and none of them are in blue circles. So it's either, so it's not 1, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 5. It's either, and it can't be 1, 7 either. So it's either 2, 6 or 3, 5, isn't it? That seems to be correct in my brain. 2, 6 or 3, 5. Well, it's not 2, 6 because these two cells can't be. Neither of those can be a 2, so it's 3, 5. So I think all of the blue circles are 3 or 5, adding up to 8. This is therefore not a 2, this must be a 2. which means this is a 2 by Sudoku. All the 2's are now done. Now, I've got a 3 in the grid there. So that's a 5, that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 5. Oh, that's a 5. I thought I was going to get a 3 in the corner, but I was robbed. I was robbed of that opportunity. And in fact, 1, 2, 3, I've got 5 5s now in blue. So this is a 3. So I've got 3 3s in blue circles and 5 5s. It's not very surprising, I suppose, that 5 was in a blue circle, given 5 could never have been on the snake. Right, so how does that allow us to make progress? Maybe Sudoku on 3s? Well, maybe or maybe not. I'm not sure, actually. 3 is in one of those cells. 3 is in one of these cells. That's quite good. So 3 is here. So another 3. Well, we've got 1 chance left for a 3 in the corner. How many 3s have I done? There is still a 50-50 chance. It's not impossible. Oh, and do you remember we said that this had to go into a 3? Yeah, that must be right. It can't go into a 1 or a 2. It needs to go into a low digit. It can't go into a 4 or it would be surrounded by double 9. So that is the next cell on the snake. The snake doesn't go here, therefore. And then the next digit is going to be an 8 or a 9 in one of those 2 cells, depending on... Well, either way, that's going to make an 8-9 pair in the box and in its column. If this was an 8 or a 9, this would be an 8-9 pair, wouldn't it? And that must mean something. 5 is in one of those 2 cells in box 8 by Sudoku. This cell isn't a 5. It sees 5 already. 5 is in one of those 2 cells in box 7. One of those 2 cells in box 9. I've got a bad feeling we're about to get stuck here. Let me think about that. I'm not sure. The only reason I say that is I'm not immediately seeing where I'm meant to look for my next deduction here. Is it... Well, one of these is an 8 or a 9. It doesn't look to me like I know which one. Obviously, if this was 8 or 9, it would have to be this one. But if this is 8 or 9, I don't think we know. This can't be a 6 because it's next to a 2. So that is an 8 or a 9, which means I've got an 8-9 pair in row 4. And the digits I haven't put in row 4 are 3, 4, and 6. So that's a 4 or a 6. These are 3, 4, or 6. Or 6. Oh dear. I'm getting a bit stuck here. Okay. Right, so I don't know what to do, actually. Do I know how this moves? This, I was going to say it couldn't go downwards because then I'd get into trouble. But no, if that's a 6, that's okay. 6, 1 would be okay because the 6 isn't, because this doesn't have to extend. This is the head or the tail of the snake. So the snake... Oh, bobbins, that actually... I was about to say that doesn't work either because I was looking at this cell and whether this could be a low digit. But what would happen if that was a 4? And it was surrounded by double 9 in those cells? The answer to that is I don't know. If this If the snake does go that way, I can see that I've now got. Then the snake would have to turn. Yeah, let me just explain that because this is a 3, which is going to be next to an 8 or a 9 on the snake. So this would be an 8 or a 9. Now I'd have an 8-9 pair in row 1. So the snake couldn't go to this cell. So the snake would have to take that path. And that might be fine. This would then be an 8 or a 9. So these would both be 8 or 9. Oh no, that's it. That's it. Right, it's very clever, Marty. Okay, that doesn't work because of this digit now. So this digit is on the path. And it is a 4. But it works the other way round for reasons I'll explain. This is really interesting. Yeah, so if the snake does go east for its first movement, I've explained why it can't go to this cell, because this would be the third 8 or 9 in the row. So it has to go down into an 8 or a 9, and then it has to turn into this cell. Now, what low digit is this? It's going to be low by polarity. It's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 3. So it has to be 4, and it has to be flanked by double 9, and that will break Sudoku. So this is wrong. This is not how the snake moves. The snake moves south first, then turns. Now it mustn't touch itself, so it goes here. And it's ended up in this naughty old cell anyway. This is a low pattern. It's on the bishop's colour of lowness, and yet it's not 1, 2, or 3. So it is 4. And it must be flanked by 9, but now it can't go here because this would be another 9, so it must turn up into that cell. So these are not on the snake anymore. This is now an 8. So this is a 6. That's become a 6. And I get a 4 in the corner over here. And these two squares, I don't know, they're 9. Oh, 9 must be here by Sudoku, and this must be a 6, I think, and therefore that digit is very well available. That's an 8. This is a 4-8 pair, and this digit should be a 6. And Sudoku seems to be being my friend. Now, how does this 3 move then? It must move into a 9 rather than a 6, mustn't it? So that is how the snake begins. Now, and therefore we've now got an 8 and a 9 in column 8, so the snake can't go to this cell. The only high digit available is 6, and that's not 5 different from 2. So the snake turns there, and that's an 8 or a 9. These two are now out of bounds for our snake. So there's the snake. That is how the snake moves. It's a sort of, it looks like a sort of vegetable, doesn't it? I don't know. It's sort of a jaunty snake. Now, jaunty snake, what can we say about you now? What can we do any more? What do we have to put into this column? 4 and 6. Okay, we'll do that then. So that's 4 or 6. That's 4 or 6. I've now got a 4, 5, 6 triple in row 5, which means I suppose that's 8 or 9. So this is an 8, 9 pair now. So this is 4 or 6. And this is 8 or 9. And now I've got an 8, 9 pair in this column. Don't tell me this is 4 or 6. Okay, I'm getting a little bit concerned about this. I've got, of course, I've got 4 and 6 down here at the bottom of column 6. I've got a 4, 6 pair now here. So these are 5, 8, 9. I've got an 8 here. I was thinking, how does this resolve? But maybe that's going to help me. Yeah, that's become a 5. That's become a 5. Maverick's going to fly over. Hello, Maverick. How are you? This is an 8. This is a 9. Therefore, this is a 9. Okay, 9, 9. Is this? Oh yeah, that's 8. Look, so that's 9. So by Sudoku, that's 9. 8 is loitering along with 5 in the bottom right-hand corner. and there's a 9 here, so this is an 8, so that's a 9. Now, so that's 8, that's 4. Yeah, we should now be able to do this column. Look, that seems to be a 6. So that's 4, that's 6, that's 6, that's 4, that's 6, that's 4. Yep, that's 6, that's 4, and that's 4. And now I get left with a 3, 6 pair here, which is going to be in that. That's it. I'm going to leave it till last. I'm going to get a 3 in the corner, I believe. And in this column, I've not put in 4 and 5, which I can now do. And that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Yes. Whoa, 500 people? Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people. Wow, Marty. Well, I know your puzzles are incredibly popular, and with good reason. That was an absolute delight, wasn't it? Absolute delight. Beautiful logic, beautiful idea about the break-in, and sort of the way that we had to keep the right numbers in the right polarities in the circles. And it was just very smooth, the way the path was forced by the 7s. Sick. Really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.